Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wolf's Call. My name is Clarke Wolfe. Or no, this is not Wolf's Call. This is Sending the Wolf. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sending the Wolf. My name is Clarke Wolfe. How are you all doing? Once again, just in the nick of time, getting online. Hello. Hi, Andrew. Hi, King. Great to see you. Hi, Mike. Hi, another Mr. Lizard. Great to see you all. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Um, and you all are hanging in there. There's lots of fun stuff to talk about today for sure. I was going to okay, so this is a fun fact. My painting and my camera are awkward currently because I was going to actually move this whole setup over there. And then all of this stuff just went a little crazy over these last couple of days, and I did not have time. That's okay though. Um, it's Thursday. I think I'm going to see Companion tonight. Is anyone else going to see any movies? Or have you seen anything? I know I saw on social media that Chris saw Companion at the what was it, the Tuesday night showing, I think. And all the reviews I have been seeing say, don't let it get spoiled for you. Go as soon as you can. Know as little as possible. Hey, Brian. Hey, Alvi. Alvi's going to go see Presents this weekend. I know a couple of y'all in the chat have seen Presents, and some of y'all really liked it. I was supposed to go see Presents last weekend, and I couldn't. I couldn't make my ticket. But yeah, I think there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. So have some housekeeping, some information. So Dylan Guerra, who any of you Fear HQ friends will know from hi Tommy. Great to see you. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. So Dylan Guerra, who some of you will know from Fear HQ, was going to be our guest on Monday, but he had to reschedule. So he's actually going to join us in 1 week. He's going to join us on Thursday. So that'll still be fun. So we'll do a little news show, a little water cooler show. I think that's, by the way, I think that's what we need to we're gonna call it is our little water cooler chat or water cooler show, aka our news show, and then we'll do an interview show. So interviews starting in February, which I am thrilled about. I think that will be fun. Mike says he's seeing Companion tomorrow and Love Me this weekend. Which one is Love Me? Let's look it up. Oops. Is my keyboard off? Yeah, my keyboard's off. Love Me. What is the? Oh, I see. Here we go. Oh, Stephen Yen. That's right. So you're breaking out on your own channel. Yes, Tommy Doyle. Thought you were on Film HQ. No, Tommy, boy, oh boy, so much has happened since you've last heard of me and what I'm doing. But I've been here the whole time. Happy to keep you updated. King says, oh, you watched Woman of the Hour. Okay. Yeah, I didn't love Woman of the Hour. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it took a swing in terms of the way it presented a true crime story, and it didn't work for me. Also, the last podcast on the left did a really great series on Rodney Alcala, and I kind of felt like I know Woman of the Hour's objective was to like not show the violence against the women. Like, of course, it showed some of the violence, but it didn't show like how gruesome the attacks and the murders were, in order to sort of like not glamorize, the killer and the violence, and to focus more on the victims. But I personally, feeling mostly familiar with the cast, or excuse me, mostly familiar with the story, kind of felt like it did a disservice to how absolutely terrible Rodney Alcala was. Like, I didn't find it to be particularly suspenseful, the movie, and I didn't find and I find that story to be harrowing. So Woman of the Hour did not work for me. But c'est la vie. Good for Anna Kendrick. Sam says, I'm sorry you're sick, Sam. Hi, Acres. Great to see you. Hey, Amra. Great to see you. Um, Thanks for being here, Stacy. So I'll give a quick recap because who knows, someone might be tuning in to this channel for the first time. So let's chat about it. Tommy mentioned you're breaking out on your own channel. I thought you were on Film HQ. Nope, was never on Film HQ. And have been a lot of places since AMC Movie Talk and Collider Nightmares, which was over 10 years ago. It's been a long time. Um, so, if you're just joining me, my name is Clarke Wolfe. I talk about movies and pop culture and TV. You probably have seen me on AMC and Collider. But since then, I have been a correspondent for DC Comics. And I have also been, I was a full time host for Fear HQ. That was AMC Network's Twitch channel. We started as TWD Universe, which was the official fan Twitch center of The Walking Dead, and then we rebranded to Fear HQ, which was all things genre, and with an emphasis on The Walking Dead. So I did that for until the end of 2022. I was there. And then ever since, I had a movie come out in 2023 called Malum, where I have a supporting role, and that's really fun. And it's on AMC Plus and Shudder right now in the United States. 2024, I had a movie come out called Tenants, which is a really fun horror anthology, indie horror anthology. And I play an influencer named Belinda, a wellness influencer that kills her roommate. And hilarity and chaos ensues. And in 2025, we're doing our streams and we're doing interviews and working. Oh, and then I directed a short film that was on a festival run and that concluded last year. Won a bunch of awards for that. So that's what I've been up to, and I'm really happy you're here. Sending the Wolf is a rebrand of a podcast that I launched several years ago. And, I've been trying to figure out this format in terms of the live stream. I really loved all my live streams from on Twitch, but I kind of like the YouTube format and like YouTube maybe a little better than Twitch, at least for now. And so we do a lot of just chatting over here, but we talk movies and TV and pop culture and the industry twice a week. So thanks for being here. And if you're interested in ways to support, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I hope you'll follow the channel and join us in our chat. And then we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/ClarkeWolf. And we do movie watch alongs. We've got a Discord that's really fun. That's the overview of what we're doing here on Sending the Wolf. All right, let's go back to the chat. Yeah. And let's see. Yeah, thanks, King. I appreciate you. Oh, thanks, Mike. I'm glad you liked my segment in Tenants. I like my segment in Tenants too. Oh, and Doug Loves Movies, another Mr. Lizard. How dare I? How dare I omit? It's funny actually. Somebody like tweeted or did something on Threads that sort of crossed my feed, and so I like participated in the prompt, and then that person like immediately replied and was like, I love you on Doug Loves Movies. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Hey, Andrew. Okay. Hi, Ronan. Great to see you. Oh, thanks, Mike. Yes, Rufus. Rufus was being snug as a bug in a rug, and he's currently right there because my streaming space is a mess. And he's joining me. Ah, there we go. It's my camera that was crooked, not the painting. Oh boy, Clarke, what a time. One of these days I'm going to get a producer and it's going to be great. Okay. Oh yeah, and speaking of posting, please feel free to follow me on Instagram at Clarke Wolfe, Clarke with an E, Wolf with an E. Oh, now I love this question, Stacy. Would you or will you audition for Velma in a new live action Scooby-Doo movie? Yes, I would. If anyone would please like to invite me to audition for a new Scooby-Doo movie, that would be wonderful. Okay, so Speaking of Patreon, I did want to even you can join for free, by the way. I think I say that all the time. But I wanted to float an idea about a schedule, our schedule. So feel free to like weigh in the chat. Please feel free to chime in on Patreon, even if you are a free member. And I'll post something. But I was thinking, so, and this is something we ran into on Fear HQ, which was when we would do Monday shows, we would always, especially in the United States, have a lot of national holidays on Mondays. And so I know like, but I always like doing a Monday show, because I feel like we can like catch up on everything that's just happened pretty quickly. But this is to say, I'm wondering if maybe it's time to adjust our schedule a little bit. So you can join Patreon for free. The Discord is for the $5 and higher monthly folks. Our movie watch along is $10 and higher. And then there's a $20 tier where I do like a special edition of Wolf's Call, where I do a deep dive into a movie, and we have to but we have to actually decide what our topic is going to be on that. But anyway, this is to say that I'm thinking I might reschedule, like move our water cooler show to Tuesdays and then do our interviews on Thursdays. And then that interview episode would come out as an audio podcast on Monday. And since I don't have a producer, you guys can, produce with me and tell me what you think. So I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I'll put it up on Patreon for you all to like vote on or weigh in on, because I really do want your feedback, because there's no show without you guys. That's for sure. And yeah, movies, news pretty much is 24/7 these days, right? Okay. Some thumbs up in the chat. We like to see it. Acres, Stacy says, you do you. Great. Mike says, sounds good. Andrew says they can do that. He can do that. Great. You're off on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, cool. Well, we'll keep working on it. Okay. Lots of y'all, so much news. So much news. Can you believe? Including some really fun trailers, like the new Sinners trailer, which if you're new to the show and this is your first time being here, I do not watch the trailer unless it's like something I see, when I'm watching a movie, like in a theater. I do not watch the trailers before we watch them together. I like it that we get to experience them all and go on little tangents by ourselves. But gosh, there was like a ton of cool news, including the Lost Boys musical, which I know when it got brought up in the chat the other day, I was like, yeah, they're always talking about it. They're always talking about that. And then I was like, oh no, they actually have a release date. So shame on me. I was wrong. I should have taken that more seriously. But we got the Sinners trailer. We got Chris Evans talking about, no, I'm not coming back to the MCU. And all kinds of fun stuff. So with that being said, should we get into it? Let's see. Tuesday, let's see who is saying that. Tommy says new Spider-Man show dropped and the audience are checked out. I don't know what that means. Okay, you listen to a lot of shows at work, King. That's great. Cool. Ronan says Ronan usually does a show around this time, but Thursday works. Okay, we don't want to miss that. Mike says the Sinners trailer is a 3-minute trailer, very spoilery. Yes, Benedict Cumberbatch talking about Avengers Doomsday, even though he said he wasn't in it. Oh. Newsletter and chat show said he expects Bryan Singer back this year. That's I don't know. I don't know about that, Stacy. I really don't. At this point, honestly, I don't feel it's less about, not that I would ever argue with the brilliant Jeff Snyder. Jeff, if you're watching, hi. That's going to become like a little running joke now. Because someone put one of his tweets in my let's talk about it folder. And we did. And so, Jeff, if you're watching, hi. No, I think Bryan Singer, it's funny. I understand what I think I get what Jeff is saying with Bryan Singer potentially making a comeback this year. The issue with Bryan Singer, in addition to his personal situations, is that Bryan Singer is a risk. I don't actually see a studio feeling very confident to give Bryan Singer 100 to 200 million dollars to do something, because historically Bryan Singer disappears from sets and makes people upset and doesn't get along with his cast. And it's really like, I try to be very careful about what I say because I don't know, whatever. We only know so much, but I actually don't think that that's going to happen. I don't see a big comeback for Bryan Singer, but we do love a comeback story. So who the heck knows? Yeah, ZSH. Hi, ZSH. Probably too much news. The show never ends. It's so true. Hey, Nicholas. That's okay. We love when you're in the chat, no matter what. Andrew says Chris Evans is doing an Andrew Garfield. Yes, Ronan, you know I have Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein first look. Oh, Rufus is excited for that one. What's this buddy up to? Yeah, there's so much stuff. Disney released a Spider-Man show and the fans are tapping out based on the trailer. It's not Spider-Man. I don't care for it. Interesting. Yeah, well, Mel Gibson's different, King, because Mel Gibson gets a lot of chances. The last get, yeah, Days of Future Past. And then Tommy, there's a little bit of a rumor that Matthew Vaughn kind of put Days of Future Past together, and then Bryan Singer kind of swooped in and said, I'm going to direct this one. Anyway, okay. How's about, should we start with the Sinners trailer? I think we should, because I really want to watch this. I'm excited. So as always, if you are I hope there's not a ton of spoilies. The one thing that I saw about this is that Ryan Coogler said that there are other creatures involved. It is not just vampires. So I don't know if any of that is hinted at in the trailer, but let's get into it. Here we go. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, wait. Add to stage. This is what I want. Here we go. Oh, no. Okay. Ready, everyone? Let's go. Wait. Are you kidding me? Oh, I didn't turn my headphones on. Y'all, Grandma is messing up all over the place. Okay, hold on. Sorry, everyone. That is my fault. Great. King says, I think music brings out the demons and vampires. Oh, that's interesting. Brian says, great trailer. And Akers says they do not like this trailer. Okay, well, I haven't seen it yet, so let's see. Here we go.
We've been gone a long time. We back now. You twins? Nah, we cousins.
There are legends of people with the gift of making music so true it can conjure spirits from the past and the future. This gift can bring fame and fortune.
Will somebody take me in your eyes?
But it also can pierce the veil between life and death.
Listen here, this ain't no house party. Shit. Y'all ready to drink? Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink?
You want some?
You keep dancing with the devil.
Careful, boy. You gonna bite off more than you can chew.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
We got us a problem, y'all.
What the hell going on?
Oh, we heard tale of a party.
This world already left you for dead. I can save you from your fate.
You don't need no saving.
Yes, you do. And you are? I am. Your way out. Don't cry. He's all better now. Yes, I love
Uh-oh.
Probably in magic. Ghosts, demons. Just power. Somebody please take me.
We gonna kill every last one of you.
I ain't mean to scare you. Thought y'all done forgot about me in here. Come on, open the door, let me on out of here.
Don't open that door.
Stay. It's you? Of course it's me. Open the door.
That ain't your brother.
Love to you.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yo, smell anything? I think I shot myself.
All right, sure. Great. Love that trailer. Absolutely love that trailer. That's great. Let's see. Sam says the music thing kind of reminds me of Piano Lesson. Rosewood Singleton really think this movie looks yeah, that's interesting, Acres, or Stacy. Here comes that Tommy gun. I don't understand why people are saying Sinners trailers spoil so much. Like Michael B. Jordan, I'll give it a go. I think so I actually think that this is kind of exactly what audiences are going for. I think that what audiences who are showing up to the theater are craving are original movies that are accessible by directors that have a vision. So I've been thinking a lot about to me a 3-minute trailer is a bad sign for the movie. Oh, that's interesting, Mike. I feel like a 3-minute trailer is what you do when you're confident. Like I want a full trailer. Now, if they release like another 3-minute trailer, I don't think that that's a great sign, but like I've been thinking a lot about Nosferatu. I've been thinking about why Nosferatu was so financially successful because the reviews critically were kind of like I would say mostly positive, but I do think that they were kind of mixed reviews. And yet regular folks showed up to see this movie. It made $100 million theatrically. Nosferatu is a weird, long, gothic, period, grotesque movie that I don't think is necessarily what you would think of when you think of a mainstream appeal. But at the same time, I think that the branding, the hype machine around Robert Eggers, the idea that audiences were going to get their money's worth, they're going to see something different, they're going to see something weird, they're going to see something scary or graphic or whatever it is. And people kind of showed up for it. So I think with something like Sinners, this is Ryan Coogler. People know who he is. And Ryan Coogler plus Michael B. Jordan, regular folks understand that pairing. They're excited about that pairing. And hey, Steve. And I think too, like seeing something that looks stylish, looks big, looks cinematic. It's a period film. I think that entices some people that they're going to see something they haven't seen before. And I think the fact that it's original and supernatural, and it looks like there's action, it looks like there's romance, it looks like there's, I don't know. Like, we'll find out. But bye King, great to see you. We'll find out. But I think that this is really promising. And I think that people are gonna want to show up and they're gonna want to see this. Hey Stephanie, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about the Sinners trailer. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think this looks really cool. Um, ZSH says, generally speaking, starting to love vampires more than ever now in 2025. They may be the ones best able to save the planet for all of these wasteful humans. That's interesting. That's a good take. Alvi says, I just think people love monsters, but it's hard to predict what people will show up to see. Totally agree. Steve says, I wish the trailer didn't spoil Haley Steinfeld as a vampire. Maybe it will, maybe Haley as a vampire will kind of come early, or maybe it will be more obvious. I don't know. That's great though. I like the trailer a lot. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So speaking of friends of the MCU, should we talk about this like Chris Evans story? What do you guys think of this? Have you heard about it? Have you read about it? Like, I know there's a lot of speculation. Share this tab instead. Here we go. Okay, so Chris Evans denies returning to Marvel for Avengers Doomsday and says that that is not true. I'm happily retired. Now, of course, we know that Robert Downey Jr. he's lying. Hilarious, Tommy. Yeah, we talked about Opus. We watched the trailer on Monday. Yeah, and the reviews are interesting. They're mixed. Some people, which we kind of also predicted when we watched the trailer. I was anticipating that it was going to be a divisive movie, to say the least, especially if it's like agreed upon that it's a decent movie. I think it's going to be very divisive. Let's see. We got some more in the chat. Sam says, I already knew Haley was going to be a vampire by common sense. POC versus white people. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a good, logical sort of metaphor. Stephanie said, yeah, I popped in just as the trailer was ending. Michael B. Jordan is a wonderful actor. Let's see. Okay. So, Tommy says Chris Evans is lying. Andrew says, I don't believe Chris Evans. Hilarious. Well, let's see. Let's see what he has to say here. So, okay. Steve bestowed the Captain America shield to Sam, played by Anthony Mackie, at the end of 2019's Avengers Endgame. That decision reaches its full potential in Marvel's upcoming Captain America Brave New World, in which Mackie is now the eponymous freedom fighter. So, what did Mackie make of the surprise news that Evans is returning to Marvel in 2026's Avengers Doomsday? I didn't know, Mackie told Esquire magazine as part of a new cover story. I talked to Chris a few weeks ago and it wasn't on the table then. At least he didn't tell me it was on the table because I asked him. I was like, they say they're bringing everyone back for the movie. Are you coming back? And he goes, oh, I'm happily retired. I learned that right there. My manager showed me. He's like, oh, so I guess Chris is coming back. That's all I know. I haven't seen a script. However, Evans also spoke to Esquire for the magazine's Mackie cover story and disputed the report that he will be back for the next Avengers movie. While the actor last appeared as Captain America in Endgame, he did make a surprise cameo last year in Deadpool and Wolverine as Johnny Storm, Human Torch, a character he played in 2005 and 2007's Fantastic Four movies. That's not true, though, Evans says about a report claiming that he's coming back to Marvel again. This always happens. I mean, it happens every couple of years. Ever since Endgame, I've just stopped responding to it. Yeah, no, I'm happily retired. Of course, Evans could be lying. Just look at Andrew Garfield, who denied for months he was playing Spider-Man again and then popped up in Spider-Way No Way Home. But for now, the actor is denying that he's got a role in Avengers Doomsday. The film is being directed by the Russo brothers and will mark Robert Downey Jr.'s Marvel debut as the villainous Doctor Doom. Mackie is fully expected to star in the next Avengers movies as MCU's new Captain America. What you don't want, and then Mackie goes on to say, what you don't want is Infinity War and Endgame 2.0. The Russos, they're so smart. They have such a hold on this universe and the history and the comic books that I know they have an idea. I mean, they better have an idea. I don't know how you put all those people together on screen and make it work. If anybody could do it, it's them. That's just my own little feelings. As for Mackie's future as Captain America, the actor said, I give it a solid 10 years, explaining you have the 2 Avengers movies and you have hopefully another Captain America and then random plug and plays. Oh, Spider-Man. Oh, Fantastic Four. What are you doing here? But you never know. I mean, I don't want to be a 60-year-old Captain America. Captain America Brave New Worlds opens in theaters February 14th from Disney and Marvel. Okay, so I agree with you, chat. I think Chris Evans is lying. Of course he is. I mean, come on. What do we have here? Let's look at chat. Hey, Top Dog. Great to see you. Okay. Another Mr. Lizard says, I'm past caring about MCU stuff at this point. Aker says, I don't think much or know much of Chris Evans. Sam says, I'm excited for more for Daredevil than the 2025 MCU movies. Andrew says, I have no faith in the Fantastic Four. Wait, you have no faith in the Fantastic Four because of Pedro Pascal? What? Andrew, are you saying you don't like Pedro Pascal? That's interesting. Tommy says Daredevil is the only chance to the chance to tell the audience if the MCU can really recover. Brian says Evans is lying. Sam says I love Pedro Pascal, but he's weird casting as Reed Richards. Andrew Garfield said something different, similar. So much random rumors. I feel like everyone likes to speculate for sure. Alfie says it's not like Chris Evans has anything better to do. Sam says they also said Taylor wasn't in Deadpool 3 and she wasn't, so we don't know who was telling the truth anymore. And Tommy says Endgame 2.0 would confuse the audience. You got to make a very different film to make it work. Akers, I sort of is the answer to your question. Sort of is the answer to your question. Nothing major. That's what I'd say. Gishgali says, I know that last year Marvel was hiring a writer on a Nomad movie that was to take place while Steve was on the run. That doesn't necessarily mean that Evans was on board. That's interesting. Mirror says they'll announce he's coming back after Captain America 4 comes out, regardless of if it underperforms. Yeah, Stephanie. I mean, they all are kind of contractually obligated to lie. That's for sure. Tommy's got some harsh words for old Chris Evans over here. Only relevant in Captain America, has no connection to the fans outside of Marvel. Although, yeah. Doesn't he have a big... what is that movie called? Red Notice? Isn't he in that Red Notice? Listen, I'll tell you that. Yeah, no. Oh, that's Ryan Reynolds. Oh. What was the movie that Chris Evans was in? I thought he was in a movie too. Let's see. I think the Top Dog says, I think if the MCU is at a point where they have to rely on nostalgia to get butts in seats, they really are in the end game now, if you know what I mean. Yes. No, Jeff Daniels does not creep me out. Let's see. Tommy wanted John Krasinski. I think that was like it's interesting. Like, it was a really interesting choice at Mountains of Madness because or Multiverse of Madness, excuse me, because I think, like, fans really did want to see John Krasinski in that role, and then to just kind of, like, do it in such a snarky way, I don't know if that really landed the way that they thought it would, but who knows? Who knows? Oh, Tommy, that's right. Lightyear, I forgot about that. Oh, yes, of course. Ronan says, before Captain America, I was a fan of Chris Evans. He was fantastic in Knives Out. I also like him in Knives Out. He was in Red One. Red Note. So, okay, I was getting him confused. Because I think isn't Red Notice the biggest movie that Netflix has like ever had streams wise? Maybe I'm making that up. Gray Man. Yes, Sam, that's what I'm thinking of. You might be that's exactly what I'm thinking of. Let's see. Alvi says Chris Evans hasn't made the best choices past Marvel, and it's disappointing because he's actually a really good actor. I also think he's a really good actor, and I wonder what it is that he wants to be doing. Like, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't really want to be making a ton of movies right now. Maybe he feels like he just wants to enjoy his life running around his house, scaring his wife and putting videos on Instagram. Who can say? Gishgali says, I can't get invested in anything Marvel casting until they're done with all the multiverse nonsense. I know. Do you think they ever will be, though? Let's see. What else does everyone say? Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. ZSH says, I'm genuinely happy for Chris Evans being happily retired. Yep, that's fair too. Do. Yeah, that's fair. Pedro fatigue because he really is in everything. I love him, so I don't mind. Yeah, I feel like I love him. I find him so charming. I interviewed him for that movie, The Great Wall, with Matt Damon many, many years ago. And this was like he had done Game of Thrones, but he had not done Wonder Woman at that point. And he had not blown up, like really blown up. Like, I mean, Game of Thrones, I feel like broke him through to a lot of people. But he was just the most charming. Like truly, truly so charming. I really liked Pedro. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is a really interesting comparison, Alvi. Alvi says, I just pictured his career would be closer to what Sebastian Stan is doing now. But maybe you're right, and he just wants to sit back and enjoy his money. I mean, I do think that Sebastian Stan is doing stuff that is like actively seeking out things that are interesting versus things that are big or will cement him as a star. I feel like I mean, A Different Man is not your traditional like Oscar or Golden Globes movie, and The Apprentice is a biopic and it's controversial, but it's small, and it really struggled to get distribution. So, but that cast is fantastic and the material is compelling. So I see why someone like Sebastian Stan, who's like, yeah, I mean, I'm in the MCU, I'm Bucky, like I'm the Winter Soldier. Let's do a weird movie like A Different Man or like The Apprentice. I also really love Sebastian Stan in Fresh. That's another one that I felt like was not a big movie, but was interesting, compelling, a different kind of role for him. So yeah, I think that at the end of the day, Chris Evans, I think he broke through in a time like talking about the 2005, 2007 Fantastic Four, where there was a trajectory where you were like, the goal is if you're a certain type of guy, you're a movie star. And I think a lot of people, myself included, thought that he could be and is a movie star. But yeah, the work is like, are you an action movie star? Well, okay, then you've got to make that stuff like, I don't know, you've got to make it compelling and interesting, or make compelling and interesting choices when you are pursuing being an action movie star. Like, I do think that Glenn Powell is somebody that I'm really curious about how his career kind of shakes out, because why, like, you do a movie like Twisters And yet his next thing he's doing is uh Chad Powers, where he's writing and he's producing this thing. Or he's in Running Man, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where yes, he's the star, but it's like a dystopian thriller. And it's got a really cool, interesting director like Edgar Wright attached. So it's like, I think that's a really smart way to play. Yeah, I'm an action movie star, but I'm taking stuff that's a little more risky versus like, you know, maybe some of the stuff that Evans has been doing. Anyway, I've been droning on and on. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. I totally agree with this, Ronan. Pedro has been doing consistent great work in various ranges: The Mandalorian, Joel, The Viper, Pena, and now Reed Richards. I don't fully get the pushback. Yeah, he is just kind of everywhere. I think that's the whole kind of thing. I think Secret Wars will destroy the multiverse and leave one continuity like Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's interesting. I would definitely be down for that. Ronan, I totally agree. Ronan says, even in Wonder Woman 84, which I don't fully like, he is the best part of that movie. Totally agree. Like 100%. I think I would have, yeah, the movie is really uneven and it swings and misses a lot of times, but boy, he is just super, super, super compelling. Love Fresh Top Dog. Love it. I like this question, Stacy, because Stacy says, would Chris Evans be good Norman Bates in a new Psycho movie? Now, no. Well, not no. Maybe. I don't know. But I like where your head is at. I think that's very smart. I want to see Chris Evans do something that really plays on his persona of being this like affable, good-looking, all-American hero. And I want to see him do something that sort of subverts that takes advantage of that. Maybe it could be in a franchise sort of reimagining, but either way, I like where your head is at, and that's exactly what I would do. Let's see. Yeah, and this is the other thing, Mirror. Mirror says, whenever I think of Chris Evans, I think of him wearing the whipped cream and cherry, not another teen movie. So here's the other thing, like, Chris Evans is funny. It is really interesting because, again, I think of somebody like Chris Hemsworth, who I think has also kind of not quite Hollywood hasn't figured out what to do with him yet, but I think Hemsworth is still doing really great stuff and great work as Thor in the MCU. But yeah, Chris Evans is funny. Like, we need to I think, again, like, whether he goes dark and sort of like subverts those like guy next door all American hero kind of types and tropes, or whether he goes funny. I think there's something there too. Hey, Claiborne. uh Claiborne says, this sounds like Andrew Garfield lying about No Way Home. To me, it's hard to imagine a few more of the original Avengers won't return outside of Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. uh Tommy says Glenn Powell could be a future movie star. Um, let's see. Wait, I lost something. Do ZSH says, I went to Rutgers with Sebastian Stan. Oh. And knowing those guys pretty well, he'll work forever and never really retire. They don't know how or when to quit. I think Sebastian Stan, if you're speaking of Sebastian Stan, ZSH, I think he seems like somebody who really does just want to work and wants to be challenged. It's not so it's about the art, it is about the work. And I wonder if Evans feels that way. But Top Dog, no, I haven't watched the first 2 episodes of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm curious about it though. This is actually the first time hearing of it. I'm really kind of out of the loop when it comes to the MCU. The TV stuff has just really passed me by. So this is really the first time hearing of it. Yeah, Top Dog says again, Chris Evans was great in Knives Out. His sweater game was top tier. That's the type of part that Chris Evans should be playing, I would say. More stuff like that that makes use of him being charming, being handsome, but also like kind of, playing a questionable character. Um I mean, I do think that Chris Evans as a sheriff in some sort of horror movie is not a bad idea. You know what I see? If ever there were a new, okay, just go with me on this. Jack Black and Paul Rudd are doing an Anaconda movie. Okay, sign me up. That is just insane. You know what Chris Evans needs to do? He needs to make a Tremors movie. That's what I see. He needs to do something with like a monster movie with a sense of humor where he gets to be the hero, but he's also having a good time. Like I think that's the type of stuff that I would do if I were him or be looking for. Um oh, Brian, great call. Brian says I think Chris Evans needs to be in a Chris Nolan movie. That would be good at this point for sure. A lot of love for the Knives Out movies in the chat. We've got some Knives Out 3 news today as well. Oh, Mirror Domains just saw Companion. I'm supposed to go see this tonight. And I'm very curious about it. Totally agree, Mike. Best time to go to the movies is at 11 a.m. I think it's at 11 a.m. anytime, any day of the week. Let's see. What else? What else? With Nick Cage as Quint. Okay. Well, speaking of Knives Out, should we talk a little like Netflix news? Because Netflix did a really big presentation today and they talked about the whole slate. And there's a lot going on. This is like really exciting, I think, and really cool. So let's see. Oh, Nicholas says Companion is terrific. You're gonna love it. Yay, I love to hear it. Okay. So what's Netflix got in store? A lot going on in 2025. This is very cool. This is very exciting. So let's see what we have. Whoop. The Witcher. Okay. This is, of course, I think let's see. Oh, these are just dates. Wait a minute. This is not what I want. Where's the Knives Out stuff? Ooh. Okay, well, Fear Street, summer 2025. We got a synopsis. This is not what we want, though. Frankenstein from Guillermo del Toro. Okay, this is just a release calendar. No, we don't want this. We want Knives Out 3. Here we go. Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. First look, Josh O'Connor joins Daniel Craig for a new investigation. So this is the first look image. Let's see. Open image in a new tab. Oh. Okay. There he is. Our favorite Southern detective, Daniel Craig. Back for more. Okay, let's see what this has to say. Daniel Craig and Josh O'Connor are featured in a cathedral in the first look image for the third Knives Out whodunit from writer-director Rian Johnson, which the streamer Netflix revealed will debut on its platform this fall. Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, features the return of Southern detective Bennett Blanc, played by Craig in his most dangerous cast yet. Joined by an all-star cast of suspects, including O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spianey, Daryl McCormick, and Thomas Hayden Church. Oh my gosh, please, 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 more Thomas Hayden Church. Plot details for the film, whose title comes from a U2 song on the 1997 album Pop, were not revealed. We've been very lucky with each of these movies to have gathered some of my favorite actors on the planet. The standalone sequel follows 2019's Knives Out and 2022's Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. So here's what we can expect. So Lionsgate distributed the 2019 hit Knives Out, which made $312 million worldwide. That's wild. I mean, I knew it was a big movie, but I didn't realize it was that big. And earned Johnson an Oscar nomination for its screenplay. The movie surrounded the death of a crime novelist and his family and featured a cast that included Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, Netflix then inked a deal with Johnson for 2 additional mysteries. The first was Glass Onion, and now we have Wake Up Dead Man. In a Variety interview for its Queer cover story, Daniel Craig said, hopefully Netflix will push it out a bit and people will get to see it. The people I speak to, the fans, I suppose, all they want to do is take their families and go see it in the cinemas. That's all they want to do. Hopefully we can give them that experience. Okay, so this is very similar to the conversation that we were having just a couple of weeks ago. Or, you know what? I guess we were talking about this on Christian Harloff's show. That's what it was. We were talking about how Greta Gerwig is doing this Narnia adaptation for Netflix. And part of the conversation has been, okay, like she really wants these movies to be theatrically released. And Netflix has this like hard line. No, we don't put our movies into theaters unless it is for a qualifying Oscar run kind of stance. And it does seem like Greta has sort of like pushed them in the direction of you need to give this a proper theatrical run. And so it seems like the compromise they've made is that Narnia will get a 2-week IMAX release, which I think is really smart because it will clean up. I think it's going to make so much movies. So that said, I think it's very similar here. It sounds like Daniel Craig is really trying to push vocally and publicly, like, hey, audiences want to go see this in the theater. Like they're going to show up. And so I wonder, it does kind of remain to be seen if Netflix is going to sort of like hear this and go, okay, yeah, let's put it into theaters. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, let's see what chat has to say. Mirror says, Daniel Craig back in the tweed, sign me up. Another Mr. Lizard said, I did not mind Knives Out, couldn't stand Glass Onion. I'll be honest too. I'll chime in here and say I did not love Glass Onion. I thought it was fine. Just fine. But I know a lot of people loved it. Stephanie said, Andrew Scott. Mike says, I can't wait. I loved the last one. Yeah, Mike says he made fun of Elon last time. I wonder who he'll make fun of this time. Yep, that's a good question. Stephanie says, I think Netflix needs to be more flexible about theatrical releases. Mirror Domain says, I saw Glass Onion during its theatrical run. The cinema was packed. You know, that also might be kind of the key here is like try to get out and see these movies in the theater because they will have a theatrical run no matter what. It'll be limited and it'll be small because of the Oscar contention, right? So it does seem to me like Netflix at least knows that they could potentially have an Oscar movie on their hands. But let's see. ZSH says, I find it weird that a couple of decades ago, Daniel Craig was being propped up by the Brits as an epitome of alpha male, but now is often playing gay men. Sad. I sort of understand why, though. Well, I think that Daniel Craig has never thought of himself as any sort of alpha male. And so I think he's been, speaking of careers, male action movie star careers, I think Daniel Craig's been very smart with how he plays things, especially post Bond. And while he was Bond, I think that's really smart. Ronan says, I wish Ryan Johnson would do a paperback novel of a Benoit Blanc mystery. And Stephanie says that would be cool. I like that too, actually. I think that's very smart. Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. I mean, so the question is, Ryan signed a contract for 2 movies. Here comes movie number 2. Do they re-up? And if they do, does he kind of throw his weight around and say, okay, you've got to guarantee me a theatrical release? This is what we sort of talked about on Christian's show, on the Christian Harloff show, was like, I do think it's going to take these big marquee name directors sort of fighting for theatrical if that's what they want, but we'll see. We'll see. Cowboys and Aliens wasn't a good choice by anyone. But did he take that after he was Bond? I don't know. I don't remember, actually. It could have also been. Let's look. Let's look it up. Let's see. Cowboys and Aliens. 2011. And then, what was the first one? Casino. Yeah, 2006. So yeah, that definitely happened while he was Bond. That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Yeah, he's very good he's good in all the smaller stuff that he does. Daniel Craig's a good actor. And I think he's the most interesting when he's playing kind of weird parts. Okay. So we talked a little bit about Knives Out. Let's do Frankenstein. Really, really, I'm so excited about this. I really just want this to get here. If Nosferatu was my most anticipated movie of 2024, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is my most anticipated movie of 2025. Why do I keep my most anticipated movies I keep picking come at the end of the year? Why is that? All right, so we've got an image. We've got Oscar Isaac. An image in a new tab. So many tabs. Here he is, everyone, presenting to a bunch of smart, scholarly people. Dr. Victor Frankenstein. So, also, I do think it's funny that they keep calling this a first look when I'm like, no, we've seen a picture of his laboratory and him already, but whatever. Details. The film is going to be released in November. The new photo shows Oscar Isaac, who portrays the titular mad scientist holding a mysterious vial. In a pre-recorded message during the streamer's next on Netflix event on Wednesday, writer and director Guillermo del Toro introduced a selection of footage while showing off a Frankenstein room in his infamous LA Bleak House. Fun fact, I tried to get myself invited to Bleak House one time. It didn't work, sadly for me, because Guillermo is like never in town. He's always in Toronto. He loves to shoot in Toronto. So, but Bleak House did survive the fires, so maybe I'll get to go there one day. Maybe. Tio Guillermo. Yes, Ronan, yes. Stephanie says, I'm very interested in Frankenstein. I wonder if it'll be better than Maggie's version. It's just going to be different because Maggie's version is going to be the bride, focus on the bride, which Chris, are you in the chat? Did you see The Bride? Did you see an early screening? Can you tell us if you did, if you're in the chat? Mirror Domain says, did you like Kenneth Branagh's Frankenstein with De Niro? Because I did. Looking forward to Guillermo del Toro version with that cast. I've never seen Kenneth Branagh's version from start to finish. Yeah, I've never seen it from start to finish. I should watch it, though. There's been a resurgence of Bram Stoker's Dracula vibes in the last couple of years, and I've enjoyed watching that on Tubi like every Halloween. Ronan says Guillermo and Oscar Isaac team up take my money. Clarke, some friends of ours have seen the Frankenstein trailer. I envy them. Who are these friends and why were we not invited? That is so rude. Maybe by this time next year, all of us over at Sending the Wolf are going to get more access. Who knows? Maybe. Claiborne says, I'm excited for Del Toro's take on another classic story. I really enjoyed his Pinocchio. Can I tell you, I've confession time here. So we were doing Fear HQ when Pinocchio was getting ready to come out. And I remember watching the trailer and I remember talking about it on Wolf's Call and Fearcast. And can I tell you that I never watched it? And do you know why I never watched it? Because I was like, I'm not ready to cry. Like, I'm just not ready to. I am not ready to cry. I am not ready to have my heart ripped out of my chest and just absolutely incinerated by the sadness of a Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio. I'm just not ready. So I didn't do it. Now, this is also to say the final Planet of the Apes movie with of the trilogy with Andy Serkis. I also was very scared of that finale because I was like, I'm not ready to cry. And then I saw it, and it actually wasn't as sad as it was going, as I thought it was going to be. But I still don't know if I'm ready. Nicholas says Bram Stoker's Dracula is one I never fail to enjoy. Ishgali has a hot take. I have never seen a truly great Guillermo del Toro movie. He's always super talented, but there's always one thing or another that holds me out. This isn't actually the hottest take, Ishgali. I know a lot of people that feel that way about his work. It's not for everyone. That's the thing, and I think that, I truly have thought a lot about, because, there's so much, because Guillermo is my favorite living director. But he makes movies just for me. And I know he doesn't really make movies just for me, but I think that that's the type of relationship that I have with his work, is like knowing this is weird and this is not going to be for everyone. And this feels like it is just for me. But that said, I also think that Guillermo's we were kind of talking about this with the jump from, Maggie Gyllenhaal doing this $100,000 really weird subversive Bride of Frankenstein movie that seems like it's blending a lot of genres, but that's a big jump from something that's like sub $5 million like The Lost Daughter to an almost $100 million really experimental, strange mashup of The Bride of Frankenstein, right? This is to say, though, when we were talking about it, we were talking about Ryan Coogler and how Sinners is $100 million original genre action film. But that makes sense to me because Ryan has worked in all these different price points and he's had all of these very successful big movies that he has written and directed. So this is to say that with Guillermo, I think Guillermo is in a similar position where I think he has earned the right to be weird and to make movies with a large budget that are in line with his sensibilities. But I also think that his movies are weird and they're not always going to hit. It's why I thought that the Searchlight partnership made so much sense. And of course, The Shape of Water came out of the Searchlight partnership. But then, of course, what is his name? It wasn't Bob Iger. It's the other guy. It's the other guy who came in to Disney. He was like, I don't really get this. And I remember being like, it just won Best Picture. What are you talking about? You don't really get this. But this is to say that his work is not for everyone. No hot takes here. I love it. I agree. Yeah, Alan Smithy says Pan's Labyrinth is a masterpiece. I do think that Pan's Labyrinth is his most consistent, great movie that feels very authentic to him. But I personally love The Shape of Water. But I very much understand why some people don't. Totally get that. Um, Alan Smithy, that's so funny. Also, I misspelled masterpiece. It's really funny. Oh, oh, wait, you haven't seen Shape of Water or Pan's Labyrinth? Well, Pan's Labyrinth is, I think, if somebody was going to tell me, I like Guillermo's aesthetic. He's a really smart guy, but I just don't really feel like any of his work has ever really clicked for me like 100%. I think Pan's Labyrinth is where I would point you. I think that is arguably his masterpiece so far in his career. I hope he keeps trying. I hope he keeps making them. But I similarly love with Ronan. I love Crimson Peak. That's not for everybody. That is a gothic romance. It's and also unfortunately too like Crimson Peak I think is a really good example of a movie that was compromised. Like Crimson Peak was supposed to be a little more effed up. It was supposed to be sexual and adult and there are themes that are taboo and controversial that are already in there, and it's a gothic romance, so it wasn't a horror movie like but I love Crimson Peak. I love what happened with it. Oh, and I love Nightmare Alley. I'm in the minority, I know, but I love that movie. I love that movie. Every time I watch it I'm like, damn, this movie is just for me. He made this movie just for me. That is my favorite Bradley Cooper performance. I think I've never seen Bradley Cooper more honest. Those final moments, I won't say what it is, but those final moments just are some of the best work I've ever seen Bradley Cooper do. Yeah, I could talk about this for hours, truly. And Mira Domains is right. Like there's a lot to love about Nightmare Alley, but it is a hard watch. Nightmare Alley is a mean movie. It is a movie that is upset with humanity and con artists. And it is a disgruntled, I think is a good word for it too. But that's what I love about it. Like, anyway, I could keep going. Alvi says we all know Guillermo's best movie is Mimic. Well, I think Gishgali has stories about that, right? Hey, Galaxy Geeks. Yeah, if you are interested in like seeing some great examples of Guillermo's work is Pan's Labyrinth is the place I would go. Yeah, I think it was Bob Chapek, everybody. Good job. Stephanie says Pan blew me away the first time I saw it. Yeah, it's so great. Such a heartbreak, such a fairy tale. Hey, great to see you too. Happy to be here. Thank you so much. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Oh, and yeah, and I love Pacific Rim, but that's a big, dumb, goofy movie that's fun and technically fabulous. His masterpiece is the Blade 2 commentary track. I believe you. That's honestly why I've never watched Pan's Labyrinth. I feel like as long as it is unseen, I can imagine it is a great film. I really do think that you will watch it and go, this is a great film. I really, really do. I really do. Oh, Kronos. Yes, Steven. Yeah, love Kronos. Kronos is fun. It's early though, Kronos is an early movie. I think he's learned a lot. Claiborne says they thought Bradley Cooper was hilarious in Licorice Pizza. Oh, Michael Shannon. We've walked his beautiful house. He's a national treasure. He is. He's a funny guy. Funny guy. This is Ronan says Clarke Guillermo finally made Pinocchio and Frankenstein at the Mountains of Madness is now more possible than ever. I mean, Ronan, unfortunately, it's a money thing, like I don't know if Guillermo wants to compromise and make things on a budget, like meaning, of course, he knows how to work on a budget. I don't know if he wants to compromise on Lovecraft and at the Mountains of Madness. I think you've got to make that $100 million movie. You just have to. I think you have to put it all on the screen. That's a huge undertaking, and I don't know if anyone is in a position where they feel like they can finance it and make their money back. I think that's honestly the biggest thing, but who knows? I hope that Guillermo gets to make his Lovecraft movie. I hope it is at the Mountains of Madness, but even if it isn't, I hope he gets to do like a proper Lovecraft adventure. I don't know. I don't know if he will, but I hope he does. Yes, Stephanie, from your lips to God's ears. Hope more people take David Lynch's advice and make whatever weird creative ideas call to you. Yes, another Mr. Lizard. Yeah, maybe that's why Gishgali. On the topic of genre directors, did you see John Carpenter doing a four-night musical residency later this year? I did. Breaking news, everyone. If you didn't see this, yeah, very, very exciting news for old John Carpenter. He's finally doing all of his favorite things. He loves playing music, watching basketball, playing video games. Okay. Any more Netflix news? I think there is, actually. I was interested at least in the Fear Street story. Oh, but wait. What else does Guillermo have anything else to say? Let's see. Okay, so Guillermo says, here was his little pre-recorded message. This film has been on my mind since I was a child for 50 years. I've been trying to make it for 20 to 25 years. In fact, some people may even think I'm a little bit obsessed with Frankenstein, he said, earning laughs as he gestures to the hundreds of themed figurines in the room behind him. And they probably would be right. You see, over the decades, the character has fused with my soul in a way that has become an autobiography. It doesn't get more personal than this. I hope you enjoy this small look at Frankenstein. You know what else I will say is I have always felt like Frankenstein and Pinocchio, it's the same story. It's totally the same story. So it does not surprise me that Pinocchio and Frankenstein are the two most recent things that he's done that are deeply, deeply personal. And who was I talking to? Oh no, you know what it was? I was listening to an episode of the Blank Check podcast, I think, and they were talking about Robert Zemeckis and Pinocchio. And they were talking about why is it that every auteur filmmaker feels like they have to make a Pinocchio movie. And I'm like, yeah, it's Frankenstein and it's Pinocchio. And because it's the same story, except one is a little softer. So yeah, Brian, John Carpenter is all of us. Another Mr. Lizard says, I'm have a ticket to the Halloween night show. I'm flying across for it. Love that. I did see John Carpenter play music in Los Angeles on Halloween many years ago. I feel like it was 2018 maybe. Yeah, and it was a fun show. It was a fun show. Okay, the only other thing that I wanted to talk about was by the way, so they talk about the footage that they showed. Oscar Isaac's Victor Frankenstein facing off with Mia Goth as a seemingly well-to-do aristocrat. It also provided a brief glimpse at Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster, towering over Isaac's bed with long black hair, stitch-up gray skin, and a glint of red in his eyes. Christoph Waltz, Felix Kammerer, Lars Mikkelsen, David Bradley, Christian Convery, and Charles Dance also star. Okay. And yes, Cabinet of Curiosities, Alvi. I did watch it. I found it to be a little inconsistent. Didn't love Cabinet of Curiosities, but that's just me. I did want to look at the well, I guess the only other thing I wanted to mention was the Prom Queen, Fear Street. From the Netflix article. I'm just like really interested about this and I think it's going to be really fun. And this came out today. Fear Street Prom Queen. See the killer first photos. I hope y'all enjoyed the Fear Street trilogy. I sure did. Directed by Lee Janiak. We had her on my show, and that was really fun on Fear HQ. So, Fear Street Prom Queen will bring us back to the dark heart of Shady Side. You can check out a very 80s sneak peek below. The first 3 Fear Street films traveled further and further back into the bloody history of the aptly named town, Shady Side. At the end of part 3, evil seemed vanquished for good until a post-credit scene showed an unknown figure stealing a sinister tome. Evil never really dies. The year is 1988. Director and co-writer Matt Palmer tells Tudum, with senior prom just 2 days away, the race for prom queen is already heating up. But when somebody starts slaughtering the prom queen candidates, all hell is set to break loose. Think classic 80s slasher and all the fun that entails, but with compelling characters, needle drops, and dancing, and a whole lot more. Welcome back to Shady Side. Well, I'm in. Sign me up. Fun. Although I do kind of feel like, it should have been set in the 90s. It's a 90s movie. Okay. Cool. That's that. How about, speaking of 90s slasher movies, oh, hello. Oh, hello, The Faculty remake. So, did any of you all catch this news today? I thought it was funny because the notion of a Faculty remake is hilarious in that The Faculty is a loose remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So that kind of made me laugh. But Robert Rodriguez is allegedly on board, and companion filmmaker Drew Hancock is writing the script. So this news broke today on the eve of Companion hitting theaters. This says Miramax will go back to school with a new version of The Faculty, the 1998 sci-fi thriller that became a box office hit and a cult favorite. Robert Rodriguez, who directed the original, will produce the film. Breakout talent Drew Hancock is writing the remake script. Hancock's debut feature, Companion, which he wrote and directed, hits theaters this weekend. It has earned rave reviews. Boulder Light, the production company behind Barbarian and Zach Krieger's upcoming film Weapons, is producing the new picture. Do we know anything about all of this? The Faculty grossed an impressive $63.2 million and has developed a following in subsequent decades. Fun fact, directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Kevin Williamson. I always think that it is fun when we realize how many movies of the 90s Kevin Williamson wrote. I know, right, Amra? That's exactly what I said. If any of you guys are on Blue Sky, I said the exact same thing this morning. I was just like, cool, we're remaking a movie that's a remake. Great. Oh man, another Mr. Lizard. I love this idea. They should get all the kids from the first one back playing the teachers this time. Oh my gosh. I would love that. That would be really, really fun. And like, yeah, I mean, do you call it The Faculty? Like, I don't know. What are we even doing? Sometimes can you tell, like, I'm like, okay, I hope that's good, but also what? Like, okay, speaking of Zach Krieger, we were talking about this on Monday. Like, so Zach Krieger makes this original movie. He's an actor. He pivots. He does this writer-director, writes Barbarian, directs Barbarian. I loved Barbarian, like arguably one of my, if not my favorite horror movie of the year that year. I just thought it was so weird, so fun, so interesting. Normally I have a general idea of where things are going, especially in horror movies. And then, something like Barbarian comes along and I'm like, I have no idea where this is going. So great. But so he makes weapons. That's coming up next. Awesome. And then the next thing is like for him is a bidding war over Resident Evil. And I'm just like, one, good for Zach Krieger. I don't know him. I think he does really cool stuff though, and I want him to do whatever creatively fulfills him. But there's part of me that's like, cool, this guy has made two, arguably, because weapons, the test screenings are supposed to be incredible. He's made two really interesting, weird movies that test really high and it seems like audiences are going to really respond to. And then now he's moving on to do a Resident Evil reboot, another one. And then meanwhile, here we are. Like, I don't know Drew Hancock. Good for him that his debut feature was this big movie with big movie stars. That's awesome. But now his next movie is going to be a Faculty remake. I'm just kind of like, it just is such a bummer. Like, instead of saying, okay, hey, what do you want to do? What's your next big ideas? It's like, no, let's just put them on remakes. Top Dog says, I'll put good money on it that it's nowhere near as good as Rodriguez's film. If they're going to go nostalgia bait, go all in. This I agree with another Mr. Lizard for sure. Brian says, I don't think this movie is good, but the story has potential with the right creative team. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing about The Faculty that I don't really know if people remember is that The Faculty is very 90s. It's very of its time. It's very un-PC. It's very Kevin Williamson. So at that time, especially. So it's got all this like very quippy dialogue. But then again, I mean, I suppose if you really hone in on the pitch, which is essentially Invasion of the Body Snatchers in a high school, that's interesting. Like, that's interesting and compelling. The Faculty is the second best Jon Stewart movie ever after Death to Smoochie. Don't forget he was in Big Daddy. I do love Big Daddy. Yeah, and Top Dog, I don't disagree. Resident Evil has excellent potential to be really good if it's given to the right person. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I want to be clear, like, I'm not hating on any of this. I just think it's kind of disappointing, but Brian, oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot about that. One of the teens dated his teacher in the end. WTF. Nicholas says, I saw The Faculty at the New Beverly last October, and it was great to see it on 35 millimeter at a theater. Always been one of my favorites. Yeah, and Robert Rodriguez is a great director. Like, he's an incredible director. So, yeah, I mean, listen, again, Invasion of the Body Snatchers at a high school is a great pitch. It's a great pitch. So, funny, Brian. No love for Half Baked. Anyway, okay, we can move on off of this. What else do I have in my notes today? Oh, well, not this ad for a car. Lost Boys musical. Who was it in chat who was last on Monday who's like, Lost Boys musical? And I went, yes, we know. They've been talking about this forever. Well, no, I was wrong. This is a real thing that's like really happening. I mean, we knew it was happening, but like now there's like there are dates. So this is fun. The Lost Boys musical set for Broadway in 2026. What a time to be alive. The musical, based on the 1987 cult classic, will feature a score by The Rescues. Don't forget, also co-produced by Patrick Wilson. Wow. The Lost Boys. Oh, Hollywood Reporter. This is why I just don't pull articles from you anymore. Hollywood Reporter. Nope. Clarke Bot is having a moment. The Lost Boys, a new musical, is set to arrive on Broadway in spring 2026 at the Palace Theater. The musical will feature a score by The Rescues, direction by Tony Award winner Michael Arden, and a book by David Hornsby, a writer-producer on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Chris Hodge. There will be private invitation-only industry presentation of the musical on March 14th. Oh my gosh, should we all like call Ryan Turek and be like, hey, can you call Patrick Wilson and get us in? That would be fun. Um, Broadway actors, Broadway and film act. Wait, Broadway and film actors are producing the show. And then the quote says Michael Arden is one of the most dynamic directors working today. And you have to reimagine an iconic film like The Lost Boys is thrilling, especially when you consider how it will come to life at the legendary Palace Theater. The production will use original songs from the musical by The Rescues, a rock band known for such songs as My Heart with You, and spots on several popular TV shows, as well as a few reworked existing songs. Are we getting, listen, this musical cannot happen if one, we do not get a really wonderful sax solo. Second of all, I still believe, and what is that song called? Toy Soldiers or the Thou Shall Not Fall song? Like, this is so iconic stuff. If you do not have this stuff in the musical, I don't know what we're doing here. Yeah. Gishgali says, I will only see it if John Hamm reprises his role, his portrayal of sexy saxophonist. I mean, yeah, like, come on. That is such a no-brainer. The music in Lost Boys is so of its time that I just cannot imagine, like, I don't know. I just can't imagine not embracing those songs. Lost Boys is really fun though. I did a stage reading of the script a couple of years ago, and it was a really fun one. I played the Diane Wiest part. I played the mom. And it was really fun. It's a silly script. And I know we were talking about this the other day about getting dinged for like saying the character's name over and over again. But boy, that script, Michael, like just really uses the name Michael a lot. Lost Boys, a period piece. I mean, better be set in the 80s. If it's not, that's also a big problem. Gishgali says I wore out my cassette of the soundtrack. I mean, yeah, exactly. But I'm excited about it. I think it sounds fun. And listen, again, Patrick Wilson's been working on this for a while. I heard about this 2 Christmases ago in conversation with someone. They were like, "Oh yeah, Patrick Wilson is making a Lost Boys musical." I was like, "I'm sorry. What did you just say to me? And also, can I see this now? Also, is Patrick Wilson gonna be in the musical? That also needs to happen. He would be wonderful in this show. I haven't even seen this show, and I know he would be wonderful in it. Sam says they keep doing these kind of movie musical adaptations like The Outsiders, and people are like, "Oh my god, it's amazing." I'm like, "Really?" Yeah, I feel you on that. Not everything needs to be a musical. I don't know, y'all. I think you guys know that I am a season ticket holder at the Pantages here in LA, and so we get a lot of touring. We just basically get all the Broadway shows, Broadway musicals that go on tour. We get the first run of the tour. And so I see a lot of movie to musical adaptations because they're successful on Broadway and then they go on tour. I think the worst offender was Pretty Woman. It's awful. I'm sorry. I know we don't like to say bad things about art here, but it's just not good. It's just not good. It's like, this does not need to be a musical. Then, on the other hand, I saw Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical, and while I admit that the first 20 minutes of that musical do not work, the rest of that show, I mean, is some of the weirdest stuff. That show won me over. It is weird. That is a weird show. And I will fault it and say that they haven't really adjusted like the politics of, like, I think that the movie is a little hard. Mrs. Doubtfire is a little hard on Sally Field. Like, Daniel is a bad is an immature partner and not a good husband. I'm just gonna say it. And yeah, so I wish that the musical had kind of corrected for that a little bit, like they had the opportunity to do more with that character. Um, but that said, the musical is kind of fun and it's weird and it's interesting. And then meanwhile, like Mean Girls the musical, I think is one of the best original musicals I've seen in a very long time. So hit or miss, but something like Lost Boys, I feel like has a real opportunity to really lean into some camp and have a good time. But oh, this is interesting. Sometimes weird stuff works. Like I saw Teeth the musical. Oh my god, amazing. So much insanity. That's really interesting. I like that. I want to see that. That's very fun. Um okay. Let's move on. We can move out of musical theater corner here. Um should we talk about Oh, wait, let's do one more movie story. Again, Mad Libs. Just so I couldn't believe that this headline was real. Jake Gyllenhaal to lead M. Night Shyamalan's new movie based on Nicholas Sparks' romantic thriller. Um, I don't know if you all saw this or have heard about this, but just what a combo. What a combo. So I didn't know that Nicholas Sparks had written a thriller, a romantic thriller, but apparently he has. Also, I think it's interesting that M. Night Shyamalan for a very long time would only direct his own work, and now it feels like he's only directing. Not only, I suppose he did just um sorry, I got distracted. I guess Trap was original, but old Knock at the Cabin, and this movie, you know, um, yeah, he's doing a lot of adaptations. The film, okay, well, it's the third time actually because he did make a feature from Old, which was a graphic novel. So this article is wrong. Maybe it's because he didn't write the script to Old, but whatever. Anyway, okay. Now this is interesting. Oh. Okay, whether or not this new project technically qualifies as an adaptation is a bit up in the air since Sparks and Shyamalan are tailoring the same story to their respective mediums in parallel efforts. So this book hasn't come out yet. Fascinating. Uh Shyamalan and Ashwin Rajan are producing the film through their Blinding Edge Pictures. Sparks' regular producers Teresa Park and Mark Bienstock are also on board. Sparks serves as an executive producer. No studio is attached to the project yet. Warner Brothers distributed Shyamalan's last feature, the black comedy thriller Trap, which released last August and earned $82 million at the global box office. Prior to Trap, Shyamalan had a decade-long partnership with Universal. Gyllenhaal was okay, wait. We know who Jake Gyllenhaal is. Sparks is a best-selling author whose novels have sold north of 130 million copies globally. Previous Hollywood adaptations of his work include The Notebook and Dear John. Oh, look, reported by Jeff Snyder. Jeff, if you're listening, Jeff, if you're watching, hi. Okay, so we don't know anything about this. We don't know what the romantic thriller is. We don't have a premise. We just know that it is a new original romance novel by Nicholas Sparks, and they are doing this together. This is wild. The original narrative is a collaboration between Sparks and Shyamalan, with the former writing a book and the latter writing a screenplay independently. What? Okay, chat, you have things to say about this. Wait, let's see what you have to say. Um let's see. Yeah, Mad Libs, right? Uh Sam says Nicholas Sparks is the part that keeps throwing me. As someone who used to watch so many of his movie adaptations, non-ironically back in the day, can't write his daughter, and well, never say never. Would you? I don't know the Giant's House. Brian says I'm both intrigued and concerned about this project. Feels like a Mad Lib. Alvy says I love Trap. Such a fun performance by Josh Hartnett. I mean, nothing wrong. Like, oh, his show is on now. Funny. You can ask him. Signs was okay. Yeah, wow. What a fun, interesting story. I mean, look, I love that they're kind of tackling this side by side. How interesting. What if one wants to go in one direction and I guess do you think that like there was a pitch that one of them heard and then they were talked about like they were going to try to do something together and then they decided they want to go in opposite directions so they have to say that they're like it's an adaptation. Like this is wild. This is so interesting, so crazy. Interesting. Okay. That's all for movies. Let's do some TV, specifically Alien Corner. Look at this. Have you guys watched this teaser yet? Now, this is a proper teaser. It's short. I haven't watched all of it. I only started playing it and watched some of it. We Were Safer in Space, official poster and teaser for Alien Earth. So, from Noah Hawley, the Alien franchise comes to the small screen for the very first time with the upcoming FX Hulu series Alien Earth, and the show's first official poster has arrived this weekend. The poster comes with an ominous warning, we were safer in space. Check out the Alien Earth poster below, and here's the teaser trailer. Sydney Chandler stars in FX's Alien Earth is set roughly 70 years in the future. FX had originally teased expect a scary thrill ride set not too far in the future here on Earth. The series is set 30 years before the events of the original Alien. The logline is when a mysterious space vessel crash lands on Earth, a young woman and ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat. The upcoming Alien Earth deals with, quote, the emergence of the story's infamous Weyland-Yutani Corporation and the race between corporations to create new android life. Sydney Chandler is playing a character named Wendy in the series, said to be a hybrid, a metahuman who has the brain and consciousness of a child, but the body of an adult. Should we watch the trailer, the teaser? I did hear Top Dog says, I really hope this Alien series is good. Yes, Alvi, I did hear that Scott Foley is returning for Screen 7, and I just was like, I almost pulled the article to talk about, and then I was like, I don't even know what to say here. I really don't. Like, doesn't he? I thought he was dead. He dies in that movie. Spoiler alert, I suppose. I just was like, what is happening? Okay. If you guys are up for it, let's watch this teaser. Let's watch this teaser. I think. Oops. Okay. Here we go. Teaser for Alien Earth. Crash landing on Earth. Okay, so just a little tease. Sam says this is a cool teaser. I will be honest with you. As you all know, I enjoyed Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus. I'm here for an Alien Corner. That is fine. I'm here for Alien on TV. But what I will also say is Noah Hawley is officially the only thing that is interesting to me about this series. Like, or it is, I guess it is the thing that is keeping me interested in this series. Like, I feel a little burnt out on Alien. But something tells me that if Noah Hawley wanted to embark on this series and take this on, when I feel like when it comes to FX, he is the person who, like, he can do whatever he wants. So I love that, and I trust that. Yeah, here's the poster. Steve says this poster looks awesome. So this is to say that, yeah, Noah Hawley is what is intriguing to me about this. I don't know. Do you all feel like it's too much? I don't. I feel like it's just too much Alien. Gishgali says, I agree, wouldn't be interested in this from most other filmmakers. Yeah, I feel like Noah Hawley can do whatever he wants, especially at FX. So if this is what he chose, then I'm on board. Brian says, I trust Noah Hawley. Same. Gishgali says, such a bad reputation for a creature that only craves hugs. Yep. Xenomorph just wants a little snuggle. Just a little snuggle. But yeah, coming this summer, I'm sure there will be a huge presence at Comic-Con. I'm sure that we will only hear more at WonderCon and all kinds of places. So remains to be seen. I'm on board. I'm interested. Again, whatever Noah Hawley wants to do, I'm here to check out, to investigate. Speaking of trailers, how do you guys feel about watching, because we didn't get to it, we had so much like water cooler chat on Thursday or Monday, which was awesome, but how do you all feel about watching the teaser for White Lotus? Because I didn't watch it. I still haven't watched it yet, and I love this show. And I am very, very curious. So will you indulge me in a little White Lotus action? Another Mr. Lizard says, the good alien projects are outweighed by the bad at this point, and I don't see this tipping the scale back. That's fair. Alvi says, it feels like fatigue, but I feel like I shouldn't because Romulus just came out and Covenant was 2017. I know. Alvi, I feel the same way. Like, I really liked Romulus. And as you know, we talked about this just a couple weeks ago. I really like Prometheus. I really like the character of David. I think, you know what? I think at the end of the day, that's what I am kind of frustrated by, is like, I really liked that journey. Like, a xenomorph is a xenomorph. To me, the franchise is either Ripley or it's a xenomorph. Or it's not, sorry, sorry, let me start over. It has to be a character, and the xenomorph, unfortunately, is not a character. So they can alter the xenomorph as many ways as they want, and it doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to see new adventures with the xenomorph, or I don't need to see like new human beings fighting a xenomorph. That's not interesting to me. But what is interesting to me is how these characters, whether they are artificial intelligence like David, or whether they are human beings like Ripley, like, how do these characters fare within this world? It's kind of like the slasher thing of, like, I don't care what Michael Myers is doing, but I care what Laurie Strode is doing, you know? And so anyway, this is to say that that's such a good point, that Romulus was last summer. I really liked Romulus. I enjoyed it. And then Covenant was 2017. That's a long time ago. So why do I feel so I don't know. Why do I feel so weird about it? Brian says, I have a hot take. Ridley Scott returning to Alien has hurt the franchise. I mean, I will agree, Brian, that not letting Ridley, I don't know, like, there's just so many ideas in Prometheus and Covenant, and it's like, we need to commit to our ideas and not try to put 3 different movies into one movie. To me, that is an issue. I know. Thank you, Emra. How dare you suggest we watch a trailer on a movie podcast? Okay, this is all White Lotus convos. Sam says it seems White Lotus season 3 ends in April, and The Last of Us will take over the Sunday slot right after. Sam, this is my favorite type of HBO programming. I love it when they have like a high profile show and they just keep filling that Sunday slot. It's my favorite. Gemstones, Righteous Gemstones comes out in March, but traditionally, I guess the last couple of years, Gemstones has not been on Sunday. It's been on Thursdays, I think. So I think that's silly, but whatever. Gishgali says, didn't love the teaser, but I don't think I liked any of the trailers, but the seasons have been good. And Brian says, I haven't watched White Lotus yet. I'm backed up on the show. Rufus has joined us. Rufus has joined the party. Okay, well, let's just watch it since it's just a teaser anyway. It'll be it's 3 minutes. Okay, JK. Never mind. Okay, here we go.
At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person. What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Amen. Amen.
Our hotel is the best in the world. At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
To Thailand and a week of new memories.
This place is insane. We should always live like this.
I'm so happy. All my babies all together.
Love Parker
I hope you enjoy
Posey.
Thailand.
We
Love
usually go to the
Patrick
Caribbean. I feel really lucky to be here. I
Love
want to
her.
learn everything I can and bring the magic back to Maui.
Belinda, right?
It's a wellness center. You should get a facial. Rick, the
Love
lady in the
Watson
airport
Goggins.
thought you were my dad.
Old friends.
Long-time friends, not old.
What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means we're not dead yet.
Amen. Amen.
Uh-oh.
Everyone comes to Thailand. They're either hiding from someone or they're looking for someone. I think the cosmos brought us together. I'm going to help you bring your joy back.
Whoa, hey, slow down, Dick.
Why are rich men always so angry?
Everything okay?
It's just work stuff.
We're not supposed to tell my family. We're poor now, and Daddy's going to prison.
There has been more crime on the island.
I'm a little freaked out. I think we need to call the police.
Your job is to protect the hotel.
พี่แค่ไม่อยากทำร้ายใคร
พี่ต้องเข้มแข็งกว่านี้ดิถึงจะทำงานนี้ได้อะ
Everyone tells me what a great man you are.
What if we lost everything?
Honestly, I don't know if I'd want to
Rufus is
live.
chiming in. Excuse me.
I just don't have it in me. We're still the same people we were in the 10th grade.
You're always disappointed.
And you're always fake, and you're vain and selfish.
We're watching
What
White
if this life
Lotus.
is just a test to see if we can become better people? No. What?
Someone once said, the secret to life is knowing when to stop.
Go big or go home, right?
Mm-hmm. In a goddamn body bag.
Okay. February. I'm here for it. Chat. What do we think? Brian, never seen White Lotus, but a great scam by showrunner to get the another Mr. Lizard. Rufus is here and he's wearing a sweater. He's wearing a jacket, everyone. Great locations for White Lotus and for Mike White. Come here. Hold on. Stop. You getting fussy? You being camera shy? You were barking and asking to be acknowledged. Come here. Okay. Sit in my lap for a minute. Sam says, I want to see what Parker Posey does in the White Lotus universe. Agreed. She's an underrated comedic talent and Best in Show, Scream 3, and Dazed and Confused. You know what I loved her in that I barely recognized her? It was the show, the HBO show that was the oh my god, it was Elizabeth Olsen, and they made like 2 of them. Let me look it up. Sam says, I forgot Parker Posey was in Thelma recently. Oh, yes, it was originally supposed to be a small budget. That is correct. Breaking news from Deadline about Scream 7. Oh, breaking news. Let's look. Okay. Let's see. What do we have? Hold on. Whoa! Whoa, everyone! Whoa! Okay, Rufus, get down. We have news to cover. Did we call this? Did we call this on our last stream? I feel like we did. Wow. Brian, for the win. For the win. Yes, Stu lives. Okay. Breaking news right here, right now. Let's read it. Exclusive. No spoiler alert here. Matthew Lillard, who played Stu Macher in the first Scream movie, is returning to the franchise for Scream 7. How is that possible? We will see. Does Stu have a twin? Doesn't look like it from Lillard's Instagram post. Last we saw the horror movie obsessed Stu, who was chasing Neve Campbell's Sydney down 29 years ago, attempting to kill her. However, she had the upper hand, dropping a TV on his head. As you'll remember, that Billy and Stu became stabbing each other and make themselves look like the victims just moments before Sydney kicked their ass. Okay. The actor joins Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox, as well as Scott Foley, Mason Gooding, and Jasmine Savoy Brown. Franchise creator Kevin Williamson is directing, with Guy Busack writing. Project X's James Vanderbilt, and so on and so on, are producing. And here's this post. My mom and dad, what is this? Oh, be quiet. What is Oh, my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. That doesn't mean anything. Sam says, oh, wow, Mike, you finally got your wish of Stu being alive. LMAO, well done. I mean, what? Yeah, Sam says, love the reference. I mean, but like, what does this even mean? This means nothing. This means nothing. But I guess if Variety is reporting it, or Deadline is reporting it, then they're reporting it as though it's like happening. And they're reporting it as an exclusive. They confirmed it. Oh, heavens, heavens, heavens. Gish Golly says, so that is 2 dead characters. Is Sydney imagining these characters, or is someone gaslighting her? Ooh, Gish Golly, I like that. Because you're right. I mean, Roman is dead. So, and you're right. And Stu is dead. So is she imagining them? And ZSH says, Matthew Lillard, one of the most underappreciated but definitive actors of my generation. I mean, we love Matthew Lillard. Well, y'all, I don't see how we're going to top that. Thank you, Brian, for alerting us to this information. This is fascinating. We did some breaking news right here on the stream. All right, y'all. What a day. What a day. What a week. I think that's good. I think we did it. So, as always, thank you for being here. And I'm so curious about Scream 7 that I did not audition for. They still, hold on, let's focus the camera. That I not get to audition for in Atlanta. Wah wah. But yeah, I'm very, very curious. Can't believe it. What is this movie even gonna be? What is it gonna be? I do have to feel like I gotta say, I feel like the whatever this movie is going to be has changed a lot since Kevin started directing it. So that's very cool. Big swing, fresh start, whatever. Let's see. All right, y'all. This is great. Thank you again to Brian for alerting us to that breaking news. Fascinating. And thank you all again for being here. It's Thursday. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I don't know about you, but I had a terrible day today. So thanks for being here. Thanks for giving me something to do. Thanks for giving me something to focus on. Next week, starting in February, our interviews are kicking off. Dylan Guerra will be here on next Thursday. So we'll do our water cooler show on Monday. And then Thursday, Dylan will be here. If you want to join the Patreon, you can join Patreon for free. And if you want to, there are also $5, $10, and $20 tiers. And yeah, I'll put the scheduling ideas up there and like, please weigh in. Let us know your thoughts. I'll also drop the scheduling stuff into Discord. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks again for joining us. From Rufus and I, we both say thank you and be safe out there. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks again. Take care. See you.